Welcome students. I am Dr. Madhumita, Assistant Professor, Department of Education, Patna Women's College, Autonomous. Today I am going to deal an important teaching skill, that is skill of explaining. Students, in our day-to-day life, you find person explaining some ideas or phenomena by going deep into the matter with appropriate examples, logically organizing the ideas, using certain non-verbal gestures and cues. You also find person who cannot explain clearly. They jumble up ideas. They can not only confuse the students but also get confused themselves. This is because they do not present ideas in a logical sequence, or they use irrelevant matter and omit relevant ones to be put forth and cannot illustrate what they are trying to convey. In classroom, right from grade 1 through higher grades, the teacher explains ideas and concept. It is the most commonly used skill and is the essence of instruction. When a pupil does not clearly understand the ideas what the teacher tries to convey, he generally asks for an explanation. So, today I am going to deal with skill of explaining. Now, many questions must have come up in your mind. What is explaining? How to explain effectively, and many other things. Generally, a teacher is said to be explaining when he or she is describing how, why, and sometimes what of the concept or phenomena. Explaining can also be defined as an art to bring about an understanding in someone about a concept. It is an activity to fill up a gap in someone's understanding. Explanation is a verbal skill. When a person comes across new phenomena, he or she may relate it to past experience. Explaining involves filling up the gap in his understanding of the new phenomena by relating it to his past experiences. So we can say that explaining depends upon the type of past experience, the type of new phenomena, and the type of relationship between them. In a classroom, an explanation is a set of interrelated and appropriate statements made by the teacher related to the phenomena, an idea, etc., in order to bring about or increase understanding in the students about it. So, what kind of sentences or statements are called appropriate statement? The answer is that it should be related to age, maturity, and previous knowledge of the student. The sentences should be logically interrelated also, and they are linked with each other so that no gap is created in the understanding of the student. So, let us see different type of sentences used for explanation. So, generally 3 types of sentences are used, that is interpretative, descriptive, and reason given. Interpretative sentences address what question. These sentences specify central meaning of the phenomena. For example, what does the poem say? What is the story all about? So, these are the interpretative sentences. Next is descriptive sentences, which address how question. These sentences describe processes, structures, or procedures of the phenomena or concept. For example, we can say, how is oxygen prepared? How does the barometer work? So, all these questions require descriptive sentence for explanation. Next type of sentence is reason giving sentences, which address why question. These sentences specify the reason for occurrence of the phenomena or an event. For example, why are most girls deprived from education in rural areas? So, this question requires reason for the problem. So, these are the different sentences for explanation. Now, we will see the purpose of the skill. The skill serves mainly 2 purposes. First, that to develop an understanding about the concept, that is to introduce the concept by giving some background about it. and second is to improve or enhance that understanding about the concept is simple and in exciting manner. So, an explanation revolves around a concept, phenomenon or an event. A teacher is said to be explaining when he or she answers what, how and why related to a concept. Skill of explaining consists of two types of behavior: desirable behavior and undesirable behavior. While explaining, a teacher requires to increase desirable behavior and reduce undesirable behavior. So, continuous practice of the skill strengthens the desirable behavior and weaken the undesirable behavior. Now, let us see the desirable behavior of the skill. The first one is beginning sentences. Generally, before an explanation, certain statements are meant for setting the mind of the listener. The beginning statements create mental readiness on the part of pupil, and it is an opening statement announcing what is going to be explained by the teacher. It prepares the pupil mentally to receive the explanation. Next is using explaining links. This involves using linking words and phrases in the statements of an explanation. Such links make the explanation clearer by bringing continuity in the statements used, and they also give a cue that the person is explaining. They are generally conjunctions or prepositions which explicitly indicate the causes, consequences, reason behind, space sequence, time sequence, means or purpose of an event, concepts, actions or conditions. Another important desirable behavior is covering essential points. The explanation given back for the understanding of a given concept or principle should be as complete as possible. The completeness is determined by the scope of the concept or principle as specified in instructional objective. It should aim for covering all the essential points leading to clear understanding of the desired concept or principle. Now, it is very important to test pupil understanding. So, next point is testing pupils' understanding. When explanation of a concept get over, short questions are put to test students' understanding. This involves asking appropriate question to the pupil to ascertain whether the purpose of explaining the concept or principle has been achieved or not. Next desirable behavior is to use concluding sentences. After the explanation, the statements are made which conclude the whole explanation. So, the concluding statements or summarizing statements help in consolidating what has been explained in the class. Now, we will see undesirable behavior. So, undesirable behavior means the behavior that teacher should avoid. So, in this, first thing is that using irrelevant statement. So, this behavior is like teacher should not use irrelevant statements. The statements that is not related to the concept or principle being explained. These statements, instead of helping pupils to understand the concept, create confusion and distract the attention of the students. Next is lacking continuity in the statement. Means it involves a missing link or break in logical sequence of the interrelated statement by the teacher for explaining a concept or phenomena. So, teacher should avoid this. Lacking fluency. Fluency relates to the flow of uninterrupted statement for explaining a concept or principle. Now, in case a teacher lacks fluency, he or she does not speak clearly, utter incomplete or half sentences, tries to reformulate or correct his statements midway of a sentence or a statement, uses fumble ideas or inappropriate words or statements. So, next is using inappropriate vocabulary. Vague words or phrases is also undesirable behavior. So, teacher uses vocabulary that is not known to the pupils or inappropriate to their age, grade or their maturity level. Sometimes use certain vague words and phrases such as somewhat, you see, I mean, you know, actually, probably. So, perhaps these are the obstruction in the understanding of an explanation. Now, this is the format of micro plan of skill of explaining. As you all know that in micro teaching there is a cycle of teaching and reteaching. So, this is the format of teaching phase. Here you have to put your details like your name, roll number, subject, the topic of which you have made the micro lesson, class of which grade the lesson belongs, and specific objective and statement of aim. Then we have 4 columns here, that is content, teacher activity, student activity and blackboard work. In the content we write the topic. In the teacher activity, the way the teacher develops the lesson for explaining. In student activity, you have all the answers that students are giving, so you have to write that there. In the blackboard work, whatever you write or draw on the blackboard will come under that. So, we end our lesson with generalization and recapitulation of the class. Now, this is the rating scale of the skill of explaining. Here you can see the different components which I have discussed, that is the 2 basic components, desirable behaviors and undesirable behavior. So, it is a 7-point scale starting from not at all to very much. So, according to the performance of the students, you have to rate him or her on his particular rating scale. After this, you give the comments or feedback of the student teacher. The student teacher make changes in her teaching according to the feedback received and goes for reteaching. Now, the teacher has to modify her micro lesson plan and make another lesson plan in the same format and shall teach again and will be rated again. This process continues till student teacher gains perfection. Now, it is hoped that you have understood the meaning, importance and purpose of the skill of explaining. You have learned all the components of the skill. You have also learnt about how to use them. This will definitely help you to prepare your micro lesson for practice teaching. I hope you would gain competence in the use of skill of explaining. Thank you.